Welcome back then folks to day 3. We're already basically halfway through the week. In fact we are. This is the 5th build of 10 in Special Projects pack number 11. And of course, those of you who follow Special Projects each month, you knew that this one was coming at some point. I've already done an M2 GTS. We've always been hovering around this kind of build. And we finally got there. Of course, the one which kind of started that legendary craze for these super hardcore modern BMWs, the M3 GTS in that iconic orange with a roll cage, super badass car. One of the things that I actually really like about the GTS is how it's not just a stripped out M3, it even has a bigger engine. I don't recall, I think it's a stroker kit, which I think the car has, if I recall correctly when I was looking it up, which is just cool. You don't see that happen to too many cars these days, the idea of making the engine actually bigger rather than just, sticking a turbo on it or a supercharger or whatever else. So as far as the visuals, of course, I will have linked to the player's design in the description. As you'd expect, loads of people have done the M3 GTS. I just happen to like what they've done with this one. I like the choice of number plate, I like the visuals, I like what they've done with the chin splitter and the particular orange. So you could go for that one, you could go for a different one, I'll leave that up to you. It's a pretty simple car to get the specs on as well. So we've got the sports air filter, the stage 1 weight. I've opted to leave it on sports hard tyres just for that, good but realistic kind of mix. For the club sports section, you want your sports clutch and flywheel, the sports discs. I've got the power restrictor and the ballast, mostly in case of when you need it. As far as the semi-racing section, the fully customised diff and the height adjustable sports suspension. For the racing stuff, the stroked out engine, of course, to mirror the real car. We're running technically like 1 horsepower less than what the real one has, at least on paper, 444. We've got 443. So if you're a stickler for that kind of thing, I guess you could fit something else and then restrict it to get it exactly on target. I didn't want to start messing around with that though. I wanted to run it as an unrestricted, no kind of throttling on the engine. Just get it as close as we can while fitting parts which feel like they should be there, such as the stroked out engine, like I said. As far as the other stuff down here, there's nothing else. For the extreme stuff, it's not necessarily super realistic, but I have gone for the steering angle adapter, just to make it feel that much sharper through corners. And for the ultimate section, we've got, again, the stroked up engine. I don't recall off the top of my head if that one cancels out the other one. I think it might, so you may just skip to that one. But I can never remember that, I always forget. When you're building 10 cars at once, it's easy for them to blend together. So, as far as the garage, the tuning settings when we jump back in, like I said, pretty simple one as far as upgrading it itself. The biggest difference compared to a normal M3 is obviously the weight, down to 1530. We've got sports tyres fitted. As far as the suspension, 98mm front and rear. Anti-roll, of course, is stuck on 1. We've got 35 and 45 on the dampers, 2.10 for the springs, 1 degree of camber. I have a feeling that's probably more camber than the real car has, but again, it's a game at the end of the day, so you can have a bit of fun. As far as the toe, that is on toe in on the rear, so that's already, pretty helpful anyway. As far as the diff, 10, 30 and 20, so nothing particularly radical on that one. The power adjustment is untouched. You want to add 58 kilos of ballast, and I've actually opted to leave that right in the middle because it's already got a slight front end advantage on weight, which could help out if you want to get a bit of drift action going. As far as the downforce, of course that's entirely up to you as far as how high or low you want to set it. I've opted for basically halfway on both, so 50 and 150 respectively. And as far as the stuff over here, you can see everything that we've got fitted. So, like I said, super simple build. One of the simpler ones of this update, which you'd probably expect, given that it's not that crazy in comparison to a normal M3. Of course, in real life, I'm sure it feels wildly different, but in a game, the numbers aren't that crazy in terms of achieving them. So, naturally, we'll jump out to the track now, show you what it can do in practice. Now, this one is another very simple one to describe, because it's great. This feels fantastic to drive, which I'm really happy about, because this is a legendary M car, especially in the modern era in real life. And for it to be great, it's very nicely balanced, it's quick. For 560 points, it's only on sports hards, but if you change the tyres up or have to meet a certain regulation, maybe 550, maybe even, I guess you could put slightly better tyres on and get it to just under 600 perhaps. This definitely has potential if you want to use it for competition. But even if you don't, if you just like the M3, if you just want to try out what a GTS could feel like were it in the game, and of course the aero makes it very easy to visualize it because it looks great, much like the LFA Nürburgring edition, almost like they intended for us to do this, which I'm sure they did. But yeah, it's a ton of fun to drive. This is one of those that it's not really going to reinvent the wheel, at least on paper, but then when you actually drive it, it's just so much fun. It's a really pleasant car to use. It feels right, it it feels authentic, at least compared to the games which do have the GTS, more so Forza than Gran Turismo, of course. So yeah, if you are a fan of the M3 GTS, well, I'm sure you've already done one anyway, so you can compare it to this one and see if you like it. And if you haven't tried it yet, give it a go if you enjoy just driving cool cars, or perhaps using the tune for racing as well. Either way, it's got a lot of potential, like I said. Stick around for more projects. As I said, we're at the halfway point now, so you'll see plenty more this week, and check out the ones which we've already done. But I'll see you then, and for now, thanks for watching.